How to get grants and lines of credit for small businesses. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the #1 community for real estate income, grants, and credit. So if you'd like to know more about how to start the process of getting lines of credit and grants for your business, make sure you watch the video to the end. Leave a comment below if you need help with anything. There are many financing options for small businesses. Lines of credit are some of the best financing options for small businesses. They are used in starting and growing businesses, acquiring real estate, investments, and more. Some of the benefits of lines of credit include lower interest rates, and some of the best sources to be able to find and get lines of credit include local small banks, credit unions, and also private individual sources. Lines of credit fall into two categories: secured business lines of credit and unsecured business lines of credit. Secured business lines of credit require collateral and paying interest on the money borrowed. Unsecured business lines of credit require no collateral and you're paying interest on the money borrowed. Oftentimes the difference between the two is the interest rate charged. So there are key advantages to lines of credit, and here are a few. Number one is a warehouse line of money, so I call it storage money. Number two is working capital available, readily available for you to use. Number three is access to money in drought. So if you've been in business for any amount of time, you may or may not know, but there are peaks and valleys in business. There are seasons of drought and there are seasons of abundance. There's times when your business will be doing very well, and there's times where your business is going to be slowing up. Has nothing to do with seasons. Sometimes, depending on the industry and the business that you're in, you may have a slow up. There may be a disruption in your market. Having access to money, having access to a line can actually help you to be able to weather the storms and the droughts that come with every business. I've been in business for over 20 years, and I can tell you that there's times where there's a lot of money coming in, and there's times where there's no money coming in, and that may be for a season. So whether there's a recession coming, whether there's downturn in the markets, whether there's supply chain issues, having access to a line can cause you to basically leverage and move your business forward regardless of what's happening around you, and have staying power and be able to stay in business. That's why statistically a lot of businesses go out of business, because they come in and they can't follow the trends of the peaks and valleys. At some point they fall off. The lines of credit can really help you to be able to actually stay consistent and move through the times while you're trying to figure out, retoggle and re-strategize, keeping your business going forward and going upward. Number four, lower interest rates, then loans and other financing options, depending on the line of credit and where you're sourcing it from. Number five, flexibility. You only draw what you need. So the requirements to get a line of credit vary, depending on whether you're going for a secure business line of credit or an unsecured business line of credit. But it can include the following. Number one, having a personal credit score of over 680. Number two, having business revenue. So as I've shared many times on my channel and all our platforms, you need business revenue. That's the prerequisite. A lot of times people talk about having business credit and all these other things, and you really need business revenue. You need to basically be generating money and sales for your business. So this is actually key, not only with grants, but it's also a key when it comes to getting lines of credit. Number three, seasoning. So what's your business time in history? How long have you been in business? How many years have you generated sales? How many years have you filed tax returns? Number four, collateral. So what are your assets under management? How many assets do you own? Or how many assets do you control that you can actually use as proof and security for the line of credit? Number five, having a business plan. So as I've shared here many times on my channel, having a business plan is extremely key at cases, because you actually need them for not only lines of credit, but you need them for also grants. Most organizations and sources want to be able to see that you actually have a vision. So Proverbs 29 talks about, without the vision, the people perish. So it's important that some of these sources for lines of credit, grants, etc., they want to basically see where you have forecasted that you're going over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years. So this is one of the key reasons why we actually include 2 business plans in our grants masterclass, to give you at least a footing and a scope of how to actually put your business in a position so that you can actually have a forecast or have a pitch to be able to give to those that you're pitching for lines of credit as well as grants. So as I shared earlier, some of the best sources for lines of credit include small local banks and credit unions. but you can get lines of credit from regional institutions as well as online platforms. So here's a quick list of where you can actually source lines of credit. Number one, SBG funding. So SBG funding allows you to be able to borrow up to $150,000, and you must be in business for 6 months, and you must have a credit score of at least 500. Number two, TD Bank. So TD Bank allows you to borrow up to $100,000. Now, one of the key things is for this particular source is that they're actually open for new businesses, which is key. So many startups and new businesses are looking to try to figure out how they can actually get access to startup capital, access to be able to get money to sustain them, to be able to get off the ground and truly launch. Well, TD Bank is one of the sources that will allow you to be able to come in there and get a line of credit or apply for a line of credit as a new venture, as a new business. And they're looking for a credit score of 650 and up. Number three, U.S. Bank. So U.S. Bank is one of the best sources for lines of credit because they actually do both. They give you both secure lines of credit options as well as unsecured lines of credit options. Now for unsecured lines of credit, they allow you to borrow up to $100,000. And for secure lines of credit, they allow you to borrow up to $250,000. Now with U.S. Bank, they're looking for 2 years in business minimum, and they're also looking for 680 plus credit score. Number four, Cabbage. So Cabbage allows you to borrow from $1,000 up to $150,000. And they require that you actually have been in business for at least 1 year, and they're looking for a credit score of at least 640 and up. Number five, Blue Vine. So Blue Vine allows you to borrow from $6,000 up to $250,000. And you must have been in business for at least 6 months, and you must have a credit score of 600 plus. So these are just a few of the sources that you can actually use to be able to apply and start the process of applying for lines of credit. So lines of credit and grants are in the family of cousins, depending on the sources. Depending on what sources you're going to be going to, you oftentimes will find that these people also are aware of or have programs or are connected to grant sources. So this is one of the reasons why I shared that some of the best sources for lines of credit are going to be your small local banks as well as credit unions. These are excellent sources for not only lines of credit, but access to grants and knowledge of grants. So we created our secret list of the top small banks and credit unions for lines of credit as well as grants. And we included those in our annuals members area at my website at AskRinde.com. So trust me, having been in business for the last 20 years, from real estate to starting ventures, I can share with you that lines of credit and grants are a game changer. Pairing the two of them together can actually take you a long way and keep you sustained in business. As we know, most businesses fail. 85% of businesses fail after the first 5 years. Here I am 20 years later, and I've used a mix of not only generating sales for my businesses, but also lines of credit and also grants in order to not only have longevity, but to forecast and grow for the future so that I'm building businesses that I can pass on to my children and pass on to my nieces and nephews so that they can actually have a better start in life than we had, that my wife and my sisters had. So we've actually curated and put together our secret list of small local banks and credit unions for lines of credit as well as grants. So make sure you actually check that out by going to our website at AskRinde.com, click on grants, and getting started today, checking them out in our annuals members area. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. You can also email me. My email address is AskRindeNetwork@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.